This is Bill and Michael at Highland Hill Farm. Yesterday we had a complaint about trees that we planted that fell over and were dying. Now many times we get complaints, and usually the complaints are justified, sometimes they're not. There are many reasons for complaints, but in the eyes of the customer, they can't imagine what goes wrong with trees. Alfonso had 4 large trees planted in North Jersey in a wooded setting in a wetlands, and Michael did the job. Tell him about planting the trees.
It was a bad job. When we got there, it was the spot that he needed to plant the trees were about 150 yards away from his house, and there was no access to it. The access was going down a hill at maybe a 45-degree, maybe a little bit more steep angle, using a ball cart, lugging around 10 to 12 foot tall Atlantic white cedars, balled and burlap. And we had to go down this hill. There was rocks, there were stumps, there were sticks. It was a wooded area in North Jersey, and we had troubles getting the balls down there. And finally, when we got the balls down there, we had to go dig the holes for it, and it was not easy digging. I mean, we did get the holes dug. We had removed rocks, and we worked around tree stumps, and it wasn't a marsh, so it was muddy, mucky, just bad, all around bad planting conditions. So we finally get the trees down there. We get the holes dug. We put the trees in the ground. We backfill it, and it looked really nice. We were really proud of ourselves. When we got finished with planting the 4 trees, we all patted ourselves in the back because we knew we did a good job getting the trees down there.
Now he had an arborist check, did he not?
Yeah, he had the county forester check, and he took a look at it. He's like, "Wow, you guys got those trees down there? That's impressive." We thought we did it. We were like patting ourselves in the back, like I said. So we thought we did a good job with it.
So a couple of weeks go by, and
it was actually like 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
And Alfonso calls us or he writes us an email saying, you know, I know why you don't guarantee your trees because you have lousy trees, blah 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 blah. So, you know, he emails me his phone number and he calls me, and I got him on the phone and I said to him, well, you know, let me have Michael come up to the farm and we'll have a 3-way conference call to determine what went wrong with your trees. And then could you please send me pictures? Well, he didn't want to send pictures. He wanted me to come out right out now and see this lousy job you did. I work hard for my money. On and on and on. I said, listen, I can't discuss the trees unless Michael is here and unless we have a visualization of what is wrong with the trees, so we have some idea of what we're talking and discussing. So with that, Alfonso sends us some pictures on his iPhone, which when Michael got here, we looked at them and we realized we couldn't see because it's dark, it's shady, the light conditions weren't good. So I called him up. I said, Alfonso, you'll have to send better pictures, and please send them on email so we can open up the attachment and see them on a larger scale on a computer screen. So with that, Alfonso sends us 10 pictures about 15 pictures about these trees. So we start to go through the pictures, and it's very difficult to see the trees because it is dark. He goes from tree to tree to tree, other different angles, and finally we're starting to see that the trees are on the ground. And yes, Alfonso says we didn't plant them deep enough. But did we plant them deep enough?
Oh, we planted them deep. It looked good from the pictures. It did look
so,
good.
At any rate, it looks like we did something wrong, because obviously Alfonso could not have done anything wrong. He's planted thousands of trees. He knows about trees. He works hard for his money. He drags water pipe 200 yards, 100 yards down a hill to get water to these trees. He carries buckets of water. He uses a backpack with water. He's taking care of the trees. There could be not anything that he did. It had to be us. So we're looking through the pictures, and I come to this last picture. Now, 3 trees are absolutely on the ground.
No, only one was knocked over.
Okay, well, at any rate,
one was knocked over.
One was knocked over. The others had some damage. Yeah. So, at any rate, we're looking at this one last tree, and I noticed that this 10 to 12 foot cedar has broken, damaged branches. Now, I knew that something happened to these trees. It had to be something. So, I asked Alfonso, do your neighbors like you? And he says, I have no problems with the neighbors. I said, do you have kids in the neighborhood? Well, I haven't seen a kid here in a long time. I said, would you go over to the tree? Has there been any trees that have fallen? Now, are there dead trees in the area?
Yeah, when we planted, the reason that he had to replant, because he had an arborist come out and remove a whole bunch of the dead trees. And when the arborist came out, he removed like 25 of these trees, and which was too many trees, and some of them were alive and some of them were dead. But then, after he removed the trees, the township got on him for removing too many of the trees because he was clear cutting the path to his property. So there was dead trees there. There is still present dead trees over still standing.
So we thought, well, maybe a tree limb fell on it. So no, he says no tree limbs fell. So I said to...
We couldn't figure out why there was so many broken branches.
And I couldn't see the tree up front and close and personal. So I said to Alfonso, would you please go over to that standing tree and take a look at the tree itself? And he goes over to the tree and he's looking. I said, do you see any claw marks on that tree? And he says, yeah, there's big claw marks all over it. I said, well, you know what you have? You have a 500-pound black squirrel, better known as Smokey the Bear. Bears? I haven't seen bears here in a while. Well, you've got a bear there now, buddy. So that's what it was. You know, sometimes it's the biology of the tree that goes wrong. Sometimes it's the planting. And sometimes it's a natural cause. So if you have a problem with a tree, please make sure we get clear, concise pictures so that we can analyze what did go wrong. Many times trees fail. People call us up all the time. We put a lot of screening and buffering trees and they say, my arborvitaes are dying at the base. And when we get the picture, we find out, it's got a big black spot on it. And I ask him, do you have a male dog?
Or does he fertilize? It's a salt.
There's a lot of problems with trees. So if you do have a problem with a tree, don't hesitate to call us, because it may save the tree, or we may be able to recognize what the problem is to help you with your trees.
Another thing too is that when you call up or you email us, you have to give us as much information as possible. Because if you just give us a picture of it, it's only a snapshot in time of what the tree looks like. You can't tell if you didn't water it, if it wasn't overwatered, or what the ball looked like, or what the conditions were in the area, if you had a big loader come by, or if you saw a branch hit it, or if you saw a lot of bugs around. The more information you give us, the better idea we can have of what happened to the tree.